When you are a web designer, building your own personal website is admittedly one of the biggest struggles and challenges that you can have. And I know this because it can be hard to be objective about the design and the look and feel and the wording and all of that stuff. So, in this episode, I want to, in a sense, simplify things for you and give you that as a web designer, the 5 surprising things that your website must have in 2024 and beyond, but especially now. Okay. And in a sense, I want this to liberate you. Maybe you should, if you're working on a redesign of your website right now, maybe you should consider hiring somebody else to do the design stuff or something for you to get unstuck here. But if your website doesn't have these 5 things, I think you're going to be missing out. And they're not sort of the traditional stuff that you might normally think about. So stick around. I think this one's going to be useful for you and give you some really big aha moments that will help. Okay. Number 1, the first thing that your website must have in 2024 is a futuristic vision for your clients. Okay. A futuristic vision for your clients. More and more, especially as the generations come up, lots of business owners now are millennials and even a few Gen Z. Millennials and Gen Z are particularly interested in legacy, in impact, in vision. They're more motivated by these things. As many of you are in the same boat, so you know what I'm talking about, than by money or benefits or the sort of traditional retirement dreams of ages gone by. Okay. And so, yes, millennials and Gen Zers, everybody's interested in making good return on investment and things like that. And hopefully your website should be justifying those things and your sales conversations should be justifying those things. But business owners can come to your website and really get on board when they see a vision for the future that they can identify with and align with and that makes sense for their business. Now, I'll admit this is going to make a lot more sense and be a lot easier if you are in a niche, okay? So if you've defined a mission and a purpose, a futuristic vision for websites and business owners that are in your category, in the niche that you are working in, it's going to be real clear when people come to your website and they see that and what you're trying to actually do, okay? So what's maybe an example of this? I'm just going to pull something out of thin air, okay? Let's say that you're designing websites for lawyers, okay? If you're designing a website for lawyers, and that's sort of the main business vertical that you are in and the main niche that you're in, then you will have an easier time explaining your passion for web design and helping those types of people with their web design, and you can set that vision. So let's say that, and I actually know somebody like this. So let's just say that you are a lawyer turned into a web designer. Let's say that you went to law school and everything, you started at a firm, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. You instead fell in love with web design and now that's what you want to do. But since you know the law so well, it's your niche, you went to school and it's something that you still love, you would like to serve others who are in that niche. So when they come to your website, if they find that you have a futuristic vision, a vision of the future about how law firm websites should be and look and act and feel to make their clients feel warm and welcome, then they're going to be way more likely to do business with you than somebody else. So again, it's way easier in a niche. I think there's some things that you could do to do this broadly, but it's going to take a little bit more work and might be a little harder to wrap your head around. But if somebody comes to your website and finds a futuristic vision that you have for your clients, it's going to be a lot easier. One more personal example, we're working on our niche website right now. By the time this podcast comes out, it may be live, I'm not sure. Going into the niche of membership sites and course sites. And the underlying vision for that, the futuristic vision, is this idea that self-education is the way of the future, okay? I personally believe, and I have nothing against teachers, by the way. My kids go to school, a private school, and it's totally fine, okay? But for me, I love this idea of educating yourself, of taking online courses, of joining membership programs like Subscription Web Design, right? To learn how to skill up and how to level up, as opposed to traditional educational paths. So our website is going to paint that futuristic vision and help people understand that we're not just web designers, we're web designers specifically passionate about online learning opportunities like courses and membership sites. And that's why we want to help people like the business owners we're targeting to do that. Set that futuristic vision. It's going to make you stand apart in a world where it's very saturated as far as being a web designer goes. Okay, the second thing, you got to have a lead booster. Okay, you got to have a lead booster. Now, a lead booster is an umbrella term that I use to describe the full process of having a lead magnet with an email sign-up form and at least a 5-email follow-up campaign that then they get dumped into your broadcast list, and you're emailing them as close to every day as possible, but at least every week. Okay, so that is what your website needs to have. You need to have a dynamite lead magnet created on there that is going to speak exactly to your target audience with, to the extent possible. And then you're going to have a 5-email follow-up sequence that follows up with them to sort of indoctrinate them and onboard them into your world, introduce them to you and who you are. And then from there, you're going to email them. So that's what I mean by a lead booster. Your website has got to have that. If all you have is contact forms or schedule a consultation or a phone number, that's not how you build an audience, a list of people who actually want to do business with you because they have the problem that you can solve. Okay. This is one of the biggest opportunities that web designers are missing out on. We're doing it for our clients, but we're not doing it for ourselves. I'm going to be talking a lot about that as we move into 2024. Spoiler alert here, I'm actually even working on an email marketing course for web designers that's going to be launched sometime in 2024. I'm excited about that. If you're excited about that, let me know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. I think that web designers are massively missing out on opportunities with email marketing, and there's a lot of work to be done there, okay? So you need a lead booster on your website in 2024. Okay, number 3 is multiple forms of contact information. Now notice, I said if you only have a phone number or a contact form, for a consultation call, that's not good enough. You need to have a way for leads to raise their hand and say, yes, I have this problem that you claim you can solve. You need to do that. At the same time, there are some people who are going to want to just do business with you, and you need to make sure that however they want to get in touch with you, they can. So audit your website. Make sure you don't just have a contact form, or this is the worst one, don't just have a Calendly link, okay? Bad idea. Some people don't even know how to use those, okay? Even smart people don't know how to use those. I'm telling you. And then there's like glitches and with the code implementations. Don't do that, okay? Have multiple ways. Have a way for people to get on your email list. Have a way for them to fill out a contact form. Have a way for them to call you. Have a way for them to email you. Have a way for them to schedule with you. There's 5 ways right there that your website should have in order for people to get in touch with you. Make it easy for them. By the way, accept text messages. Get a business line that's separate from your personal line and accept text messages. Maybe even have an online chat, right? You want to make it so easy for people to work with you and do business with you. Unless you don't. By the way, there is a school of thought where you just don't want it to be that way, and you have too much work as it is already. That's fine. You can actually do what's called takeaway selling. Put a big notice on the top of your site that says, hey, look, by the way, we're not taking any clients right now. Fill out this contact form if you want to get on our wait list. We're booked. Boom. That's a great problem to have. But if you're not in that boat, then make it real easy for people to get in touch with you. Okay? The fourth one, you need a content warehouse. A content warehouse. Now, what do I mean by this? Okay. What I mean by a content warehouse is it's really multiple parts. A commitment to consistent content. Okay? A commitment to consistent content. Because when you commit to making consistent content over time, you build up a body of work. And that body of work I'm calling a content warehouse. You need essentially your website to be the place for people who have the problem that you solve to come to and get more information about them. Okay. And I'm actually going to be talking a lot about this in an upcoming masterclass that I'm going to be offering. And I'm really excited about that. But I'm not going to say any more about that right now because I don't want to spill too many beans. But yeah, you need to have a content warehouse. You need to have a commitment to creating consistent content, putting that content on your website, whether it be through YouTube or a blog or a podcast or all of the above, or, you're doing lots of writing, maybe even on Twitter or somewhere like that. Okay. You are going to need to build up this library of content that helps people become informed about the stuff that you do. And if you think you don't need to do that in these days, you are almost certainly wrong. At least if you're going to do marketing where you want your website to do sales and conversions for you. Now, if you're going to go to networking groups and your website is literally just a way for people to see your portfolio when you hand them a card in a networking group or something, fine. Maybe you don't need to do this. But for everybody else, and I would argue that even you probably need to consider this, consider putting a content warehouse on your site where customers can go to get their questions answered. A great book you can read on this, it's an older book, still relevant, is called They Ask, You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. Make it so easy for people to come to your website, get the information that they need to make an informed decision about doing business with you. Okay, and then the last surprising thing that your website's got to have in 2024 is direct response copywriting. Okay, direct response copywriting. If you don't know how to write in order to sell what you sell, then you are going to be at an extreme disadvantage in business. Writing remains the holy grail. Anybody can do TikTok. Anybody can do YouTube. Very few people can write clearly and articulate clearly. And when you learn how to do that and do it specifically in a way that is attuned to sales copywriting, okay, eliciting a response from people, it will just change the game for you completely. So if your website is not using any kind of direct copywriting and it's all fluffy language, that's not going to fly. You got to fix that. You got to change that. Read some copywriting books. Some basics are how to write copy that sells by Ray Edwards. That's a really good one. The Ultimate Sales Letter by Dan Kennedy is a really good one. Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson is another really good one. There's some great copywriting resources out there that will teach you about the basics and fundamentals of direct response copywriting, language that is intended to get people to move and take action. It's very important. So to summarize, the 5 surprising things your website's got to have in 2024: a futuristic vision for your clients, a lead booster, so emails, a lead magnet and a 5 email follow-up sequence, multiple forms of contact information to make it real easy for people to contact you, a content warehouse to make it real easy for people to figure out if you're who they want to do business with, and then direct response copywriting to actually call them to action when they've determined that they do want to do business with you. Okay? These 5 things will transform your website, and forget about all the other stuff. Like if your website honestly had nothing but these 5 elements, I think it'd be more successful than many web designer websites out there. In fact, I might even just take up this challenge because I've got a website that I need to build right now for our agency. I might want to do a version 1 of it that is just this and test it and see what it is. If it just had these things on it, would that be an effective enough website to do the work? Possibly. So anyway, I encourage you to do that. So that's all for this episode of the Subscription Web Design Podcast. God bless. We'll see you next time, and I hope this has been helpful for you.